Hello, welcome to Video Mania 2. I'm the man behind the counter, Duncan, and today we're going to talk about a special release from Vinegar Syndrome of an all-time great action classic. It is Roadhouse, starring Patrick Swayze. It also stars Kelly Lynch, Sam Elliott, and Ben Gazzara, directed by Rowdy Harrington. I have talked about the movie itself in a previous video. I'm going to talk about this release from Vinegar Syndrome, and let me tell you, spoiler alert, they really hit a home run with this one. I sometimes I upgrade, sometimes I don't, but with Roadhouse, there was no question I was going to pick this up. I mean, just look at the artwork here. The movie, I'll give a brief overview. Patrick Swayze plays Dalton. He's a cooler. He's like head of the bouncer, and he cleans up clubs around the country for a lot of money. So he shows how to, he comes in and runs the club and makes sure everything's going the way it should be going. And he goes around and does that, and he gets in a lot of fights. And here, when he goes to the Double Deuce in Jasper, Missouri, he ends up having to clean up the whole town instead because there's a tycoon there named Brad Wesley who gets rich off the people in this town. So he ends up having to clean up the whole town, not just the Double Deuce. So that's the basic premise. You can go check out my previous video where I talk more in detail. So now let's talk about the picture quality and the audio. Then I'll get into the artwork. The picture here is excellent. It was a good 4K restoration. The signage on the Double Deuce pops more, and the texture on the walls of the Double Deuce, like when it's a dive bar, like really bad, it looks, you can see the textures on the wall, and then when it's renovated, it looks a lot better. That pops more now. And the texture on the clothing, like Brad Wesley, some of his suits and his hat, the texture, you can see that a lot better. And Dalton's Mercedes that he uses in one of the action scenes, and when he pulls up to the bar a couple times, you can see the shine on the Mercedes a lot more. That's the thing I noticed. And the part where I really noticed it the most is Dalton and Brad Wesley's main henchman, Jimmy, played by Marshall Teague. They have a climactic fight scene at night. You can see that better. And when Dalton ends his fight with Jimmy and kills him, Elizabeth Clay, the doctor, Kelly Lynch's character, checks on him. And the fight takes place at night. And then when she checks on Jimmy, there's the lake behind where the fight was, and it's at night, so there's a lot of black. And you got the impression more just from the silence from her character when she looked at Dalton, kind of horrified at what he did and what he was capable of doing. Now you see Kelly Lynch's face more than ever, because against the backdrop, of the black, the black night and the lake, it was just a big black thing, and her facial expressions got drowned out in previous releases, and here you get to really see it more. I really noticed that. Like when she looks back at Dalton, you see the horror on her face, like the expression Kelly Lynch did that when she checked on him. She was like, wow. And that really adds to the viewing experience of this movie. So that's the thing I really noticed. Now, the audio here is very good. You can hear the punches and kicks, dialogue's crisp and clear, and the helicopter engines or the monster truck and stuff like that, very clear and crisp. So it's a good audio mix. I would have loved a Dolby Atmos, but I'm not going to nitpick here. This is still a very good audio soundtrack. So now let's get into the artwork, which is just absolutely phenomenal here. Vinegar Syndrome, they do this, I've talked about their VSA line where they do all their things, and the artwork's great on that, but this one takes the cake. The only other release I have from their VSU was Beastmaster, where they did this magnetic booklet, and that's here too. You see the opening artwork, and here is the back, more great artwork, and there's the spine. Now I'll open up, it's kind of a magnetic booklet here, and inside you have more great artwork. There's like the original one from when I rented it back in the day. The artwork here. Now you have the 4K itself, the original slipcover, some more stuff here, the Double Deuce, and you have this. artwork. And it is reversible. It's the artwork on the original slip cover here. So it's reversible if you want to do that. I always love Vinegar Syndrome's new artwork, though. I rarely go back to the original because it's just so good. Here you have the discs themselves. There's 3 discs in here. And a lot of special features. So I'll go into a few. The 4K disc is pretty much just the movie itself. And then the Blu-ray, you have Anthony DeLongis, who plays one of the henchmen, who's a great stunt man. He's done some other Vinegar Syndrome movies that he's part of, and he's always an entertaining interview. He talks about Roadhouse and what went into that. Brand new interview with second unit director and stunt coordinator Charlie Pacerni. And there's several more here. It'd take me forever to read them all. And then there's some archival stuff, the making of Roadhouse, and conversation director Rowdy Harrington. There's just all kinds of stuff, this archival stuff here. But, I mean, this thing is loaded. So it is definitely worth it. But the artwork here and the presentation is amazing. Oh, before I forget, there's also a booklet here. All kinds of great stuff here and stories and different analysis of this movie. So all kinds of stuff here. Vinegar Syndrome went all out, and I think it's absolutely worth the money to spend on it. If you're a fan of this film, and if you're following this channel, a fan of 80s action movies, Roadhouse is an essential part of that. And this release is the best way to have it. And like I said, the shot with Kelly Lynch, in some ways, is experiencing Roadhouse again for the first time. It was absolutely amazing. So I love this release. I'm glad I'm upgraded to it for this, definitely in my top 5, maybe my all-time favorite. I just love this movie. So that's all I have for today. If you like older movies like this, physical media, special releases, movies like this, please give Video Mania 2 a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next time.